Good afternoon, and I'd like to welcome you all to our panel today with the Red Sea Film Fund, as well as the Red Sea Film Festival. If we can just give a round of applause for our guest as we get started. We have with us Mr. Emad Eskander, who is the director of the Red Sea Film Fund, as well as Kaleem Aftab, who's the director of international programming for the Red Sea International Film Festival. So I'd like to start with you, Emad, as you're seated right next to me. So I know you worked in multinational corporations, Unilever, P&G, and then you kind of did the whole escape from corporate to get into something more creative. Huh? Yeah. So can you tell us a little bit more about what you did? I know you founded Blue Bus Entertainment. So it's really great. Obviously, we're going to get into the Red Sea, but I think it's good for people to know you as a creative and what you're about.
Well, first of all, salam alaikum, everybody. I'm just a lucky guy who had to go through this journey.
Yeah.
To see the corporation, to see the box, just so I can somehow think out of the box. A journey of a storyteller. I say that because we have zero schools that teaches you. Like, we don't have film schools in Saudi Arabia. We have only one, and it's very fresh. 2011, which is nothing. So yeah, I'm lucky in that sense where after graduation, I had to go through these companies to make my CV look good. Till I just realized one day in 2012, YouTube did us really good. YouTube was one of those things that made a lot of Saudis very confident about that we can do this.
Okay.
So I left a very hefty job. Because I was about to become a director, like a marketing director in Unilever. And I went for at least maybe 5% of that to just open this company. And then within 3 years, within 5 years, actually, we got around 17.5 billion views on the shows we need to make on YouTube.
Yeah.
Well, we should play with money,
right?
Just
Yeah.
And after that, I left the corporate world just to open this agency because there's a lot that's missing in Saudi, Still, obviously. Cinema's open at 2018. So I did Blue Bus Entertainment. It's a conceptualizing writing hub and music composition, which did me really good. We're spending around $100 million, around $1 billion every year in filmmaking in Saudi. Until now, we don't have one music production house. Which is a good opportunity, I believe, for a lot of musicians from Africa. You wouldn't realize how much similar we are in this, And after that, I got a phone call. I got the phone call after I applied for my films.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to get it. I was like, it's all about my babies. Enough. I don't want to be a corporate, I don't want to work anymore. They gave me that salary increase and I was like, no, let's do this.
Hey, we can't be mad at that.
And again, it starts with me being lucky. And I wouldn't be here. I would be still a struggling artist in my balcony, trying to write concepts at work. And now I'm all these connections, meeting all these filmmakers, going over all these applications, over 1,000 applications a year from the whole Arab world and Africa. And I'm still getting paid. Yeah, I'm the lucky guy. Yeah.
No, that's fantastic. And now you get a chance to feed the starving artists, right?
That's what's up.
That's perfect. And Kaleem, I want to jump to you and to get to know a little bit more about you outside of your programming. You've been a indie filmmaker since the 90s.
Wow.
You're also a journalist, a critic. So can you tell us a little bit more about your journey as well? And then how it led you to programming?
Now, after hearing Emad's story, I feel like I gotta start with being like the son of a poor immigrant in Pakistan. My dad worked on the trains. My mum made clothes in the council estate. That's how it starts.
That's not good.
And then, obviously, being the child of immigrants in London, was forced into learning education gets you far. At least it did in those days when it was more free than it is now. And so was very fortunate to be blessed with intelligence, good look, and charm. Yeah. And so went to see. I told you your story was inspiring mine. And so went to university afterwards. I dabbled in film production with some friends. So it was very funny on Google for many years because I used to like do tiny cameos in the films. It used to say actor. I was like, wow, for 5 seconds of screen time, I did well. For 20 years of writing, Google never caught up. I thought I'd beaten the algorithm, but not anymore. And so then I worked as a film critic. I was hugely, I wrote Spike Lee's biography, which was great. Worked for The Independent for many years. Soon discovered that I was the only like Muslim film critic in the whole of Europe at the time.
Insane.
It was insane. So, and then really then started to like understand by talking to filmmakers, seeing what people were not interested in, which is what I was interested in. And seeing how hard it was for filmmakers from many places, but especially the global south and Africa most of all, to get noticed. So when eventually, to fast forward to the Red Sea, when I got the call, I was like, you know what, we need to like concentrate our efforts on the places that are not making the amount of noise that the storytellers deserve to make. So we focus on Arab, African, and Asian filmmakers at the festival. That's where most of our efforts go, especially year round. And we're really proud of what we've achieved so far, but it's just the beginning.
Fantastic. And I think it's always good as filmmakers to know the people behind the institution, you know, and to know that it's people who are passionate about film, people who have experience in film, and who know the struggles, you know, and it's not like just suits, you know. So I think that's really important for us as filmmakers to know. But could you tell us now about your actual roles and what, like, just define what you do as the head of the Film Fund, your international programming? What does that mean specifically?
Sure. So as director of international programming, that means the easiest thing is it means selecting the films from anywhere but the Arab world that play at our festival. So we have around, altogether with Arab and international films, around 125 films, including short films. We then also have a competition, which is open to 16 films usually, and they either come from the Arab world, Africa, and Asia. That's the criteria. How we judge that criteria is if you have a passport from those countries as the director or the producer. And then for the rest of the year, it is organizing programs, going to festivals, talking to people, also trying to help uplift other festivals. We go often, we make efforts always to go to Africa. In the last year, we've been to Burkina Faso last year, Gabon, Nigeria, Abidjan, Zanzibar. So we really believe that we should meet the filmmakers. We shouldn't just be on an internet page that you don't know. Learn, because by going there, we learn what the stories are and what people cannot tell, even though they want to tell. So we're trying to disrupt. We like to be disruptors. I think that's if you ask me in one word what my job was, I'd say a disruptor.
Nice.
Well, yeah, I'm the director of the fund. I'm glad that I was there since the beginning, in a sense where I always tell the story, like a lot of things. When we were building the strategy and a lot of those, I always tell the story. I guess a lot of you, if you attended this, so you feel bored. But again,
I haven't heard it.
Okay, that's awesome. So I remember when we went, obviously the fund was built for Arab world and the whole of Africa. We don't pick point, like we don't choose which countries to. And the story started with we again, once we decided to go to include Africa, you know, in the funding, we were, the first strategy was to go with the big six to see which industries to enter. And I have to say, I have to give it to our Minister of Culture, where when we gave him the strategy, and he was like, "What about the rest?" Like it happened in a minute, and we were like, "But let's just enter." He's like, "No, they're our neighbors. Let's include it all," which made the funds increase further. And we give 3 kind of supports: the good old development, production, post production, throughout 4 cycles a year. Again, eligibility is to be a passport holder. And to be honest, you guys are making us look good. Like last year, or The Omen did very well here in Cannes. It was almost selected for the Oscars. And that's just one film. So far, we funded. Don't quote me for this. I don't know the exact number. I just forgot. But it's 50 plus films from all across.
Okay.
And it's amazing. It's amazing that the kind of applications we get from the African countries is unbelievable. We had an image, and then the image was wrong. I usually talk to a lot of countries how important it is to make your basic application really strong, and this is not an issue for you guys. It's been good so far.
Fantastic.
And then I'd like to add that in addition to the funds, we have the Red Sea Souk, which takes place at the festival. And there is Works in Progress, which has awards. And there's a project market that looks at new projects. So throughout the year, there's so many opportunities to access for us to access your talent, but for you to access us to try and help you reach the market. We also have Red Sea Lodge, which is open to African filmmakers. And this is a number of programs that operate as labs. There's the main lab, which is an incubator for films for a whole year. This year, there's 2 projects from Kenya and 1 from Sudan, which we're proud to have. And we also have labs which help composers, producers. So it's looking at the whole cycle of films all across, from the very, very, very new filmmakers to very experienced filmmakers that we can help by showing their films at the festival.
Fantastic. I'm going to go into, specifics, because we're speaking to filmmakers, and I think people want to know, how do you guys decide in terms of projects? What are obviously you've got a list of criteria, but what are the most important things that should stand out, when for the funding side, but then also on submissions, right? For the programs, as well as for the festival. So I think if you can highlight some of the key things that make a project stand out or a film stand out, and then also some of the negatives, some of the things that are immediately oh, this isn't going to work.
Well, it's actually a good question, but the answer is very simple, because yes, the fund of I'll talk about the selection of the Red Sea Fund. Yes, it is part of a festival, and a lot of people assume that we support festival kind of films, that the films that push only the artists, not the only artists. I think the festival films are bigger than this. But I mean, what we look for is good stories, and that's it. I'm actually promoting and pushing the commercial value of these films. It's about time that the Arab world and the African cinemas keep some of those money, some of money in the same country.
Yeah.
And I've just enough sending it to producers from across. That doesn't mean that there is an evil plan or something. But we push for that. We're all about this. So saying that, what I mean is, we accept genre films. Obviously, again, The Omen is one of those very artistic. I don't know what to call it. It's a painting. That film was a painting.
Yeah.
So we obviously like projects that travel to festivals. We like it makes your application stronger.
Okay.
But we never push away films that are genre based, that think about the commercial. Actually, we think like co-producers in that sense, where see, we ask for example, MENA premieres when we fund your projects. But at the same time, as co-producers, it happens with a couple of projects where if the release is before the Red Sea, and it's good for the film because there's a certain seasonality in the country, or summers are coming, it's always summers in Saudi Arabia, but if summers are coming and you want to release your film, so in that we think like co-producers, whatever is good for the baby, kind of.
Okay.
So yeah, but there are a lot of things that make your application strong. Most definitely, the basics are very, very important. So we don't ask for something that's out of something you've never heard of. But I would always tell the filmmakers to take care of this kind of stuff. For example, one of the things that we ask for is a director motivational video. Why are you doing this? And we need to take these elements really important. You don't know the amount of films that were selected not because of a strong, just a strong application, but again, that's the only maybe human element that you can see with and you don't have to be very systematic or robotic, about just speaking harder. You know, you wouldn't imagine the amount of projects that they were not getting the fund, and just that got them the fund, because it's an authentic approach to the film. So saying that the application and every element is important. I don't think Africa has that problem. We just need to fix the whole deadline mentality.
Okay.
You got me? So, yeah, like 3 hours before it closes, and it's open for a month, and you cannot imagine. Yeah, you cannot imagine. And the
System's
phone calls,
crashing.
The phone calls is like, hey man, it's like, is it 12? Like this.
You're like, it's 12 everywhere. Okay.
Yeah. We don't face this issue. But I would just say that it's not about the deadline. It's
Yeah. I mean, that's really helpful to know. And I think when people are putting applications in, it's good to know that there is that human element, because sometimes when you're submitting, you're like submitting into the ether, you know, and just wondering. And so it's good to know that those are the kind of things that make people connect with your application. I know as a filmmaker, I always get wary about the video part. But it's good to know that actually carries so much weight, you know, because you get to say what you can't say on paper. And we're visual people, right? We tell our stories verbally, visually, and all of that.
If I can add, the way we selected is, again, we start with just checking. Internally, we start with the projects that are complete versus incomplete, which is just a simple thing.
Yeah.
And then we go through our panel, which is the readers. And then it goes to the selection panel, and we make sure that these readers and the selection panel are established. I wouldn't call it established filmmakers, but I would say practicing filmmakers. They have the eye for it.
Yeah.
And again, they make us look good, because you can see the projects that they select. We make sure that they belong to the region, and that even when we came in, there was not a single Saudi reader, and it makes sense. We just started, so we built these readers. We brought Saudis, a lot of African countries, leaders. We have committee members, Sebastian Onomo, South African filmmakers from Ghana. So we make sure that this selection committee is, and they play different roles.
Yeah.
We started including actors. A lot of people thought that would be,
interesting.
But it's awesome, the kind of impact they're making, because again, they're artists. They're the colors to the painting. So again, I have a lot of painting references.
I can see. I want to jump in to hear from your side what stands out, basically on the programming side, but when someone also submits their film.
Okay, I would say there's like two answers to this. There's the more mundane answer, which is that you submit your film, and then we watch it. Myself and Carmen Thompson, who's here, she's hiding. I was like, come be in the panel. She's like, I'll be in the audience. Proudly, she was named as a future leader programmer by Screen International.
Nice.
We also have Andrea Vogus, who works at Durban. She also works with us. So, and then myself. So we're all watching films that are submitted. We love to watch submissions. Well, Carmen does, because I think it's very important. I think it's very important that we take the access routes that are for the filmmakers that have no idea how to get into the business.
Yeah.
And they're not got a machine behind them. Obviously that has its own complications, because they don't have a machine behind them. They don't know certain technical aspects. So we're balancing things out. We take things into consideration as we're watching, and then we select. We do always ensure we have African films. It's a big dream of mine one day to have so many African films. I can totally ignore Europe. And so that's the mundane everyday answer. But the bigger answer is, obviously we all know where the situation with the market is. So actually I work very closely with Emad and the other sections to go to works in progress, to go to all of these festivals, to talk to filmmakers, to hear their ideas. And we discuss the African films a lot, and we say, what do we think will be good? Sometimes films are submitted to the fund And Emad goes, "Oh, you should definitely check this one out." Even ones that they're not going to give funding to. He's like, "We can't do this, but I think it's great." I mean, already the first films that I've chosen for this year's festival, I won't tell you what they are. We're both African.
Oh, fantastic.
So it's like a big, and we all know, and I've worked as a journalist that for many years, the whole of the world, including myself, working in a very prominent paper, thought that Africa was 6 countries where France was producing movies. And that was African cinema. And so it's a big passion of mine that we actually make it for all of the Africas. There's over 50 countries, as you all know, and a lot of them are represented easily in the North Africa section from the Arab world, but the Sub-Saharan, there's a lot of countries whose stories have not been told, a lot of places that no one even knows they exist. And we really want to change that, and we want to give access to those filmmakers. So in the programming, we really take into consideration, like, if there's 2 films of equal merit and one has been well heralded in Europe, we'll probably take the other one, because we're trying to change the focus.
That's really good to know. That's really good to know. I'm gonna just jump into, again, I know a lot of people are really interested in you guys' festival and, you know, the market behind it. Can you just walk me through it? Like, so I've been approved for Red Sea funding. You talked about you guys working as a co-producer. What does that mean? What does that look like? What's the journey? What's expected of you once you get the funding? Of course, there's 3 different batches, but just talk me through it.
Well, we just announced that, like, in the beginning of the year, we became a film foundation rather than just
Okay.
It's not but it's not the Red Sea International Festival anymore.
Okay.
Which makes us change our email domains and stuff.
Okay.
So we became a film foundation in that sense. What I mean is, as just Kaleem said, when you apply for the funding, you're not just applying for the funding. There's a small tick down where you automatically the souk gets to review your projects. And there are so many projects that didn't get the funding, but were part of the souk. Different filters. We make sure that their readers and our readers. One of the greatest guys in the fund, guys, Mundir.
Hey. That's part of the fund. That's what
he's happy. You got me? That's why he's not late. Too much of fun. So yeah, we're very much.
The first time you're on time and you're like, oh, wow, you got cheek.
And I just woke up. No, anyways. Yeah, so we're an ecosystem. We're an ecosystem.
Okay.
And we mean it when we say it. He's right. He calls me more often than I call him about a good project, to be honest.
Okay.
But always this happens. Like, we call each other, like, that is a good project. Let's not miss this. Let's meet this person. But again, the applications in the funding, like, we do them through 4 cycles. The details we can talk about later. It's easily found on a single page on the Red Sea Fund, you know, in the foundation page. Yeah.
But yeah, okay, great. So when you say you're like co-producers, but you're not co-producers.
What we ask for is not much.
Okay.
What we ask for is not much.
Okay.
We don't interfere. Like, the first thing you will see in the contract, we say that the filmmaker is the 100% IP owner. So we don't own part of the IP, no matter what happens. 90% of our funds are grants.
Okay.
We just ask for, obviously, the presence, our logos. We push for co-production, but in a sense where these are our rights. We want to make sure that we're named as co-producers. The country of Saudi Arabia is mentioned as part of the production countries. We love to have the opportunity to have these films as MENA premieres, or even at world premieres. I guess he will talk about that even more. We don't ask for much, to be honest. We just want to make sure that films are made on time, the timelines and the financial plan that are shared, they're very authentic.
Yeah.
The more, okay, one of the things that we do, you don't have to have a certain level of financing so we come in.
Okay.
But again, we don't ask for 60% or 70% and then come to the Red Sea Fund. But again, it makes your application stronger, nevertheless.
We do, yeah.
The more you have, the more it shows that these projects are.
Yes.
And yeah, we're happy that especially from Africa, and I'm not just saying this, I guess you can confirm, there are a lot of recurring projects. So when you can get 2 of the 3 supports, you can be development, production, post-production.
Okay.
And like the African submissions are the most ones that come to development, and we see them coming back in production or post-production, which gives us confidence, because usually the development part is kind of tricky.
Yeah.
Around 70% of the projects will not see daylight for many reasons, and from across the countries that we support. But yeah, we're proud that these projects come back. And again, thanks to the panel, thanks to my team. One of the good things that we made sure of, everyone in the Red Sea Fund team is a filmmaker.
Oh, fantastic!
Which is a very emotional team, which is a pain for me. I'm an emotional guy, to be honest. And there is a lot of emotions, like too many manly tears in that room.
I love it.
And female tears.
Yeah. I think time-wise we're a bit tight, but if you can.
Sorry.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Okay, I'll give you a quick version. So, for example, if you get into the lodge, you're extremely lucky. What that looks like is you then have to do 5 sessions throughout the year. Some of those sessions are in Saudi Arabia. We fly you in, feed you, give you mentorship with Torino Film Lab. It's amazing. For me, it's better than any of the funds, to be honest. And that is like a big commitment that we expect, but you get a lot out of it. And the hope is that by the end of the year, your film is ready to go to market to get development proposals. We've had like Inshallah, a Boy was in year 1, and by last year it was in the Cannes Film Festival.
That's hectic.
Like there is a lot of films we're now expecting in the next few years to have a similar journey. We then, within the funds, it's great. I'm always like, you guys are too nice in the funds, because really they're so hands off and they believe in the authorship of the directors. And then on our side, one of the things, like as an overall within the festival, one of the things we recognize is it's very hard if you're a filmmaker, because if you're selling your house as a estate agent, or if you're building a house, there's your architect, you're building, then there's an estate agent to sell. But as a filmmaker, you're almost expected to do all
everything.
of it. And it's very complicated to understand the industry. So we try and unpack the industry as much as possible, but also we're trying to develop a market for African films. And it's very complicated because sometimes that means, why are you asking us for a MENA premiere, for example? But it's because we know we're building all of the infrastructures, and there's a route to market that we can see if we can incubate you all the way. And as soon as we lose you, then there's a wild beast out there that is used to exploiting filmmakers in ways that we don't.
I mean, that's fantastic. Another question, because we have a little bit more time, is just on the festival side, the film festival side. Like you said, a lot of filmmakers are doing everything in the value chain. So when you get into the Red Sea, film festival, I've heard good things about it, that it's very fabulous. What support do you guys have? Does someone still need to have like their own marketing and PR, or does the festival kind of support? What kind of things do people have to prepare? Because once you've gotten in, sometimes it's like, I'm in.
This is an absolutely brilliant question, because it's one of my bugbears. Because we give a lot of support, and then the filmmakers often don't help themselves. And so I will say the positives first, which is there is not just one way of getting into the Red Sea Festival. You could get in as a short filmmaker. If you get in as a short filmmaker, we recognize that the hardest thing in a film festival is arriving and having no idea what to do. So we actually put you in our talent days. And this year it's called Soup Talent. And therefore, when you get to the Red Sea, you're not just standing there going, I'm going to show my film on Tuesday at 5. What else do I do? Where you can meet producers. This is a route to market. Here's these events. We probably put on too many before. We packed out their schedule so much they were exhausted. But we see from the beginning that we should take care of the short filmmakers. If you're a feature film, if you're in the souk, you have a project market, we introduce you to people, we provide support, provide materials, etc. You get your film into the festival, we do have agencies that look after your film, but you've got to remember, there are so many films in the festival that if you don't go out and do your own marketing, it's up to you to get the audience. Like, we are showing 100 films in 10 days. There's a maximum audience that we can cater to. So someone like Gravedigger's wife, Kadir, when he came, he literally ran out, found where the Somali community lived in Jeddah, went, invited them, and his screenings were so packed. And so every time another African filmmaker comes and they do no work and they have an empty screening, I'm like, this is what can happen. And this is what if you're waiting for people to give you an audience, your film career is going to die. You need to build your audience. This is what people do online. Incredible. That's why the online stars make more money than filmmakers, partly because they're building their brand constantly and they're making efforts to connect with the public the whole time. And at the film festival, what we do give you is 1,000 delegates who are there, who you can go up to every time, bring your own paper, bring badges, do all the things that you used to see. They still work. Just because most of the marketing you see is on digital, if you go the old-fashioned way, you're going to see still a big impact. And that is a bugbear I have. So we help you a lot, but filmmakers can help themselves as well.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that. I think that's really important for people to know, because a lot of the time you don't know what happens once you get in. You're just kind of like, oh, so it's great that you guys guide people through it. So just to wrap up, in terms of time, I know, both of you guys have come to this from so many different career paths that you've wore. What is your ultimate vision for the Red Sea Film Fund? What's the future? What are we seeing? World domination in terms of you guys, Africa and Arab? I want to hear the big, hairy, audacious goal of what you would see with your roles and what you guys want to do, impact-wise.
Well, I would say God was way too kind to us. A lot of things happened way too soon. I remember when I was writing the mission and the vision of the fund. I remember saying that, and it was by 2027, we should have some kind of a presence in the Oscars.
Yes.
It's not like that's the only validation,
but
it happened. It happened last year, and we were in the Oscars. We were hoping to,
I mean,
we need to see it. We lost the vision.
It's what's next? We ate that.
But it's sustainability. I would say the sustainability. A lot of good projects. Again, it's the filmmakers that make us look good. Last year we're here with 8 films in Cannes, including the opening film. This year here with the 4 films, and I have to say this now, we're very proud because we had the first ever Saudi film here at the Directors Fortnight called Noura. Please go and watch it.
In certain regard.
Okay,
yeah. So anyways, I would say the sustainability. And not to lose track on what are we supporting and why are we here. It is about the indie scene, independent scene. It is about uplifting these stories that nobody heard. And it's not just that. Again, I would say I wish the day comes where I'll be begging for you guys, please take funding. And you guys will have enough money.
We'll be
and we'll just say, well, why is this happening? I wish if this happens, even to the Arab world, where the filmmakers somehow, they're financially independent, but they go for the funding just for the logos. Let's put it this way.
Yeah, and for the ecosystem. That's beautiful. And I'm willing to be one of those filmmakers who's like, yeah, I'll take the money just to put your logo on it. And from you?
From a festival perspective, I would say, again, we've only had 3 editions and we've made a huge impact. And I think we've already transformed what is possible in North African and Arab filmmakers. And we're also giving access already to sub-Saharan filmmakers that were not possible. But as with everything, nothing stands still. So our ambition is not small. We want to be the festival that when you have an African film, you think, I must premiere at the Red Sea. That even before Cannes, you go, if I premiere at the Red Sea, then I'm going to get
Amazing.
noticed, and that's the ambition. And we won't stop until we do that, which will be by next year.
That's fantastic. You guys have been such a vibe. It's been really great chatting to you. And I think for everybody, it's just put a really, as he said, intelligent, charming, and good-looking face to the
That's
to
nice
the
of you
fun.
to say.
So yeah, I think everyone's quite keen to like everyone's been thinking about the Red Sea Fund, and so having you guys here has been really great. Thank you so much to Prudence from AfroCannes and to Deadline. Let's just have a round of applause for our guests and our